Two-mark question for the NET Life Sciences dated 30th October 2020. TRPV6 transient receptor potential vanilloid type 6 are the calcium transporting channels in intestinal epithelial cells. Calcium binds to intracellular protein that is known as calbindin D9K. Calbindin D9K sequesters the absorbed calcium so that it does not disturb the epithelial signaling process that involve calcium. The absorbed calcium from epithelial cell is transported into the bloodstream either by sodium calcium exchanger NCX1 or a calcium dependent ATPase. Shostak and Trousseau signs. These are the signs of the tetany in human. Shostak signs include a quick contraction of ipsilateral facial muscles elicited by tapering over facial nerve at the angle of the jaw. Trousseau sign is a spasm of the muscles of the upper extremity that causes flexion of the wrist and thumb with extension of the fingers. Plasma phosphate level usually rises as plasma calcium level falls. It causes tetany. Oxyphil granules. Each parathyroid has two distinct types of cells. The chief cells are abundant, which having prominent Golgi apparatus, endoplasmic reticulum, and secretory granule synthesize and secrete PTH, parathyroid hormone. The less abundant and larger oxyphil cells contains oxyphil granules and large number of mitochondria in their cytoplasm. In human, few oxyphil cells are seen before puberty, and their number increases with age. Calcium sensing receptor (CASR) is a class of G protein coupled receptor which senses extracellular level of the calcium ions. It is primarily expressed in parathyroid gland, renal tubules, and brain. In parathyroid gland, it controls the calcium homeostasis by regulating the release of parathyroid hormone. In kidney, it has inhibitory effect on the reabsorption of calcium, potassium, sodium, and water, and it depends upon which segments of the tubule is being activated. Wolff-Chaikoff effect. Under certain conditions, iodide itself inhibits thyroid function. As we know that iodine is necessary for thyroid hormones, but more amount of the thyroids can inhibit. The large amount of the iodide act directly on the thyroid in inhibition of organic binding of iodide and hormone synthesis. This inhibition is known as Wolff-Chaikoff effect. Thioureline. These compounds are related to thiourea, and these compounds inhibit iodination of monoiodotyrosine and block the coupling reactions. For example, propyl thiouracil and methimazole. These two compounds acts like competitive inhibitor. Iodination of tyrosine is inhibited because propyl thiouracil and methimazole compete with the tyrosine residue for iodine and become iodinated. CTCF, transcriptional repressor. CTCF is also known as 11 zinc finger protein or CCC-TC binding factor. In individual with more than 2 X chromosomes, only one remain active. The process that is normally responsible for the inactivation is initiated in an X inactivation center in the chromosome via trans-activating factors, that is CTCF, which is also induced during gene imprinting. Mullerian inhibiting substance (MIS), also called as Mullerian regression factors or MRF. MIS is secreted by the Sertoli cells. Leydig cells secrete testosterone. When the embryo has functional testes, male internal and external genitalia develop. MIS is a 536 amino acid homodimer and a member of the transforming growth factor beta TGF superfamily of the growth factors, which includes inhibition and activins. ICA cells, that is intrinsic cardiac androgenic cells. Epinephrine is also found tissue other than adrenal medulla. Brain is in the brain, for most part, it is absorbed from the bloodstream rather than synthesized in C2. Interestingly, low level of epinephrine reappear in the blood sometime after bilateral adrenalectomy, and these levels are regulated like those secreted by the adrenal medulla. These may come from the cells such as intrinsic cardiac androgenic cells present in papillary muscles and septa. Motilin is a polypeptide containing 22 amino acids residue that is secreted by enterochromaffin cells and MO cells in the stomach and small intestine and colon. It acts on G protein coupled receptors on the entering neuron in the duodenum and colon and produce contraction of the smooth muscles in the stomach and intestine in the period between the meals. Fast ligand. Though the fetus and mother are the two genetically distinct individuals, yet the transplant is tolerated and the rejection reaction that is characteristically produced when other foreign tissue are transplanted fails to occur. It may be due to placental trophoblast, which separate maternal and fetal tissue. The placental trophoblast does not express the polymorphic class 1 and class 2 of MHC genes and instead expresses HLA, a non-polymorphic gene. Therefore, antibodies against the fetal proteins do not develop. In addition, there is FAS ligand on the surface of the placenta that binds to T cells, causing them undergo apoptosis. PSD. A characteristic of excitatory synapse is the presence of thickened area called postsynaptic density on the membrane of postsynaptic neuron. This is a complex structure containing inotropic glutamate receptors and signaling, scaffolding and cytoskeleton protein. The mGlu-R are located adjacent to the PSD. Allee effect. Allee effect occur when the population growth rate decreases as the population density decreases. Perhaps because individuals have difficulty finding mates at low population density. Allee effect can be disaster for small populations. Allee effects are visible in kakapos and monkshood, that is Aconitum nipalis,